not seen it. They did not give me a statement. I have not seen any statement. I have not seen any statement.
Mommy, what are they face now? Come back small and then we also get something to film. Oh.
62 years old, 10 years old, arrested for no more galamsey. 62 years, 10 years, arrested for no more galamsey. Not that we committed a crime, or not that we beat anybody, but we said no press beyond. Galamsey. Let it go wild. Let it spread. Everyone know.
These things are everywhere.
What I'm doing, Galamsey. We are tired of the right. We need a right to fight. Yes, you are not here. You are not asking the president. We are here to fight for your future. We are not asking the MP. We are not asking the minister to put your suit. We are just asking them to fight Galamsey. They should give us the land back. If I accepted that we do it, we will be here today. No! We need the land.
Proving to all of us that they only care about the next election and not about the livelihood and welfare of the people. They've shown us. Instead of them, German ceasefire. No, yaba, and police for you. So see, Ghanaian youth, if we call any action where you guys know they come, it'll go against we. The youth of Ghana between the ages of 16 and 35 will be 12 million. If we call any action, then you see 100, 200 people. The message is sending is that we are not serious. Yes. So if water situation affects all 30 million Ghanaians, and we are asking to come out and show our displeasure, then the Ghanaian youth there, as they tell, we say, we support you, we support you. That is not necessary. Yes. The support is right here on the street. Yes. To show them that, yes, the majority of us don't agree with what they are doing. Yes. If it comes to importing water, those people in that house, they have the free way to import it. Then they import pizza, they come. Why can't they import water? Yes. By you, then we. If water tanker don't come, who gives us water? So to the Ghanaian youth watching us, if you dare house where they relax for house, come out and join us here. Let's fight. Because this issue will be me and you when I issue. Yes. Greetings to all of us. Yes. Right.
Deserve better. Ghana belongs to you and I. I am a Ghanaian citizen, but I believe, say Ghana, we can do better than we are. So come in and support Face the Country. We don't belong to any political party. So come with your numbers and support this, non-violent demonstration. That's all we are asking for. And also, I'm going to plead with the government to stop blocking our way. We are non-violent, we have no guns, and he knows that. Face the Country doesn't belong to any political party. But the problem is they always block us. Look at us. We have no way coming from there, we have no way going in. Why is it always like this? Don't we deserve better? If we have clean water, we're all going to live long. Look at me, I'm 52 years old, you can't even tell my age. Why? Because of the system that is working for me. Ghana is collapsed, nothing is working, it's always buying and selling, there's no job, there's no warehouses. How do we live like this? Look at the youth, they are all into drugs. Why? Because they cannot afford to eat. So everybody depends on drugs. We deserve better. They promised us jobs. Today we have no jobs and you want us to respect you. Respect you in what? We deserve better. That's all we are asking for. So I urge all Ghanaian youth to come out tomorrow and support Face the Country demonstration. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's in you. The soldier, the police, it's in you. Respect your uniform. Take up the stand. Ghana water. Right now, if you get water before, you don't get water and not the food. Is it true? Yes. No, hold on. We cannot get water for you. What is the best?
Watching this, that this is what we have to do for a living in a country that is the #1 in gold in Africa, #1 in number 6 in the world. But now to add insult to injury, over $20 billion of our gold that's causing us this misery does not even come to Ghanaians. It goes to foreigners. It goes to foreigners. And then our women carry this 12 hours, 14 hours a day just to make 50 cedis. That should cause everybody to worry. What is wrong with this picture? There is something seriously wrong with this picture. Okay. Guys, we don't even need Galamsey to live the lives that we want. Number one, the citizens of Ghana are not even benefiting from Galamsey. They're not benefiting from Galamsey. Okay, all we're doing is reaping the havoc that Galamsey is leaving to us. The people who are benefiting from Galamsey have left our shores and they're enjoying the wealth somewhere else in Dubai, in South Africa, in Switzerland, and we are suffering. The women who carry this 12 hours a day have to go home to their children who have been poisoned by all the Galamsey waters. What kind of world is this? And we have 275 useless parliamentarians sit and enjoy. They drive around in 160,000 70th edition Pathfinders, and this is what we do. How can a woman carry 100 pounds on their head for 12 hours a day just to make 50 cedis a day?
15.
How?
15.
15. Oh, come on, Ghana. This has got to be better than that. This has got to be better than this. This 50.
How would you say the feeling is so far?
I mean, I think there's a sense of enthusiasm, you know, and one of the things is clear that there are more people here than there were on the first day of last year's Occupy Julobi House. We anticipated that a lot of people, obviously, we live in a republic that is driven by fear, and so many people are expecting that the police will be violent and brutal. We've already noticed that they have put up a message on social media claiming that we are being violent. We know that it's setting the stage for them to act lawlessly, but we are here. We have enough cameras and enough media around to show that the protesters have not tried to engage the police. We've not engaged in any fist fight with them. We are holding the fort for people to understand that we are committed to delivering our message peacefully. We won't be here and stuck here if they are hoping for us to go where was agreed. But we'll continue to stay here. And if they take it as a license to act irresponsibly, we would continue to hold the fort and deliver our message.
Do you think their last minute message affected the number of attacks?
No, we don't think so. I think that our anticipation has always been
He has started a thief. Thief! Oh, thief! Arrest him! Arrest him!
What is all you do?
This is your...
Who are you? Arrest him! Arrest him! We'll not time to arrest him! He's got it! Come and arrest him! Arrest him! Arrest him! Go arrest him! What's wrong? Don't allow anyone
He has started a thief. Thief! Oh, thief! Arrest him! Arrest him!
What is all you do?
This is your...
Who are you? Arrest him! Arrest him! We'll not time to arrest him! He's got it! Come and arrest him! Arrest him! Arrest him! Go arrest him! What's wrong?
Fellow citizens, you must be at the center of the change. The change we have voted for will have to start with each of us as individuals. We can start with little changes in our own individual attitudes and practices. The change can and should start now and with us as individuals. I ask you to be citizens. Citizens, not spectators. Citizens, not subjects. Responsible citizens, building your communities and our nation. Fellow citizens, you must be at the center of the change. The change we have voted for will have to start with each of us as individuals. We can start with little changes in our own individual attitudes and practices. The change can and should start now and with us as individuals. I ask you to be citizens. Citizens, not spectators. Citizens, not subjects. Responsible citizens, building your communities and our nation. Let us work until the work is done.
Mr. Speaker, the achievements outlined in this statement are accomplishments that my government and I can proudly claim. But the state of our nation at any given time, where we are in the race, is the result of more than the visible gains made by one individual during his tenure. Every president inherits the unfinished work of his predecessor. Every president benefits from the seeds planted by his predecessor. Seeds that could not be sown during his predecessor's tenure. Mr. Speaker, indeed I believe if politics could be described as a sport, the one it would most closely resemble is a relay race. It is a sport that relies as much on the individual's achievement as it does on teamwork and cooperative effort. The true test of that competition is in the passing of the baton. So too with politics. Mr. Speaker, President Jerry John Rawlings started the structural transformation of this economy under the Economic Recovery Program. This program restored Ghana to a path of growth, which he handed over to President John Ajekun Kufuor. President Kufuor continued the Economic Adjustment Program, and under HIPIC initiative, achieve significant debt reduction, implementing new social intervention programs such as NHIS and the Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty program. He passed these on to President Professor John Evans Atta Mills. President Mills commenced the Eastern Corridor Road Project, the University of Ghana Medical Center, which I inaugurated yesterday, the Kotokraba Market, the Cape Coast Stadium, and a host of others which I inherited and completed. Mr. Speaker, my administration commenced the construction of new community-day senior high schools, a policy of progressively free secondary education, construction of the Eastern University, investment in many infrastructure projects that are ongoing, and many others that will actually commence under President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Mr. Speaker, I am assured by his firm statement that he will continue these projects as enjoined by our Constitution of 1992. Mr. Speaker, I wish him all the success in this regard. And as I've said many times already, regardless of whose tenure in which these visions come to fruition, its success belongs to Ghana. They belong to all of us. Mr. Speaker, political opposition and differences of opinion are vital to the health and growth of any democracy. Political parties are formed when people of similar ideology come together to move their agenda forward in a way that best serves their country's interest. But the well-being of the nation and the will of the people must always come first. Partisanship for its own sake in the end is no better than dictatorship. If we look around the world, we can so clearly see the deep divide that blind partisanship is creating in nations with democracies that are even far older than ours. We can see too the divide that it is threatening to create in ours if we are not careful. Already it's taking a toll on our morale and our sense of optimism. It has given way to a cynicism that is as dangerous to the incoming political party as it is to the outgoing. We cannot afford as a nation to wish or hope for the failure of any president and his or her government. Ensuring accountability is not the same as leveling insults or encouraging apathy. We have history as proof that we have been better and that we have done better, and that we must do better once again. Mr. Speaker, I first entered this House as MP for Bole Bamboy in January 1997. It was perhaps not coincidental that the same year, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo entered as MP for Achema-Boakwa. Taking breaks from the business of the House, to grab something to eat at the snack bar, Nana Addo always stood at the end of the counter, his signature white handkerchief tucked into his sleeve. Johnny, he would shout in greeting as he preferred to call me. Incidentally, we both served 3 terms in this House, departing together in January 2009. This is how long I've known the President-elect, or we have known each other and worked together. I have the utmost respect for him, given our history, especially that we have each had our turn at each side of a presidential election. It would seem only natural for us to be considered opponents. Worthy opponents is the description generally used in the world of sports. In fact, Mr. Speaker, we are all on the same team as Ghanaians. We worked together when I served as ranking member on the Committee of Foreign Affairs at the time that Nana Addo was the Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration. One of the issues on which we crossed swords was the murder of some Ghanaian youth in the Gambia. It is instructive that as I leave office and as he takes my place, Gambia once again is a nation that is engaging international attention. Mr. Speaker, It is my assertion that the information I've provided is a snapshot of the
State coffers are not spoiled for the party that wins an election, but resources for the country's social and economic development. I shall protect the public purse by insisting on value for money in all transactions. Public service is just that, service and not an avenue for making money. Money is to be made in the private sector, not the public, and measures will be put in place to ensure this. We must create wealth and restore happiness to our nation. We can only do this when we have an educated and skilled population that is capable of competing in the global economy. We must expand our horizons and embrace science and technology as critical tools for our development. We believe that the business of government is to govern. Ours is to set fair rules. We will provide vision and direction and shine the light down the path of our entrepreneurs and farmers.
As I've said before, I'll allow history to be the judge of how I've served my nation. How well I have done my part in running my lap of that relay. What that verdict will ultimately be, I cannot say. I can only say that I have done my best, giving my all, and done so with the best of intentions for my God and my country. As I've said before, I'll allow history to be the judge of how I've served my nation. How well I have done my part in running my lap of that relay. What that verdict will ultimately be, I cannot say. I can only say that I have done my best, giving my all, and done so with the best of intentions for my God and my country.
State coffers are not spoiled for the party that wins an election, but resources for the country's social and economic development. I shall protect the public purse by insisting on value for money in all transactions.
No dear, Nana. I couldn't be as a so be a organ at Chassis. Say, pass, say, you perceive a boy that's a buyer. Illegal mining, essay issue, essay assassin. As you know, your crowd say, yeah, baby trustle. Then you follow one of the Yabby one idea, no, Ghana would need giant mine, Sans necessary bomody in Ejamonia and what ye cheer air bay. That's a gallant saying and said up home by Uncle Sia Baby Jaya. Ebia, the air no, not say Ghana, Nina. It's what I say. So also no tomb. Said the area, no, I had some pandy and cosso, a bit she, was saying cry, yet was a papa. Now if we know Ghana so no, Ubabi bro, man Ghana and 1 for 1 yet back one. Why him, dear no, ye. It's a per se. Me know any ahemfo what brown ahafo and I work on the no bakuya kese e ba yentem yentumi nyina e de adwen abom itumi bo mai e ma nkoso a ye hwa magana no aba.
I've heard it being said that I should be careful. Many of these people voted for me, and if I continue this exercise, perhaps they will not vote for me again. If by the grace of God I'm in a position, my party allows me to go again, and I have the health and everything to go again, that I'll not get it again. And I'll say to myself, well, this is a choice that all of us have to make as human beings. You do what you think is right, or do you do what you think will allow you to get along? I think that you do what you think is right. That is what you're required to do. Fortunately for me, in this fight, I have great allies. First of all, within my government. The people who are in the front line of that, all of them are here. The Minister for Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation. The Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. The Minister for Water Resources and Sanitation. Eminent Ghanaians, responsible Ghanaians, who have gone out of their way to lead this crusade. But from the beginning, they said something which is the reason why you're here today. We cannot win this fight without the support of the traditional authorities of our country. Any serious social mobilization of Ghana, since time immemorial, if you're not involved, it doesn't happen. If you, the chiefs of our country, are not involved, it doesn't happen. Placed a ban on illegal mining, the phenomenon we call galamsey, which was destroying our water bodies, vegetation, and our forests. Some 20,000 young people have been engaged to plant more than 30 million trees in 2 years to create jobs and restore degraded land. These policy initiatives are already using positive results to the attainment of the SDG goals, particularly the goal of reducing our carbon emissions. Additionally, I've established an advisory group of prominent private sector chief executives who are setting up a $100 million SDGs delivery fund and a $200 million green fund to complement government's efforts at tackling climate change and funding the implementation of the SDGs. Whilst we strive to do our bit to halt climate change at the national level, we expect also a lot to be done at the international level. One major issue of concern to us is the need to streamline access to international climate finance to complement national funding. There are many requests I intend to make of you in the closed-door session of our meeting. But one of the most significant, which I have to state now, is to seek your assistance to take partisan political interests out of the fight against galamsey. It can only succeed if it is a truly national battle, which no one seeks to exploit for political gain, as we saw in the last election. The progress of our country depends on all of us, all citizens of Ghana, all fellow Ghanaians, pulling together to defeat this existential threat to our future.
The mining repository, Ghana mining repository. This is the 2009-2016 record from Professor Mills to John Mahama. The issuance of small-scale mining leases. Only 56. 56. In 8 years. In 8 years. I decided to do same for 7.5 years. This is it. You see how fat it is. You see how fat it is. How many? 1,503. 56 against 1,503. Same period. Where did you get this document? Yes, this is a download from the Ghana repository, the Ghana mining repository. Maybe the gold prices are encouraging. What is going on? Look at how thick it is. Look at how thick. Over 1,500. This year alone, they've done 70. Just 2 months, they've done 38.
Of new licenses?
New licenses.
By your friend?
So what's going on? What's going on?
The one you are appointee.
This is approved by the Minister for Lands under the law. Okay. Yes, you go through the mining commission.
They don't give license.
Yeah, they don't give.
The license is by the minister.
It's by the minister. Acting.
The minister responsible. That's the law.
That's the law.
Really? Mining, yes. Mining leases.
Can you believe that?
Issued by the minister.
1,500.
The Minerals Commission don't issue licenses.
No, they will make recommendations. No, they make recommendations. You know, 1,503. This is it against 56
new licenses.
New licenses. Can you believe that? And you see,
no, but if they were all engaged in ethical mining,
they are not.
There will be nothing wrong.
But we know they are not.
It will just be an expanding system.
I heard Erastus Donko say that look, there is no difference. It's on this show.
Yes.
There's no difference. The league, so-called legal people. And you see, I'm doing some work, the revelations. Watch out for the next few days to the mining repository, Ghana mining repository. This is the 2009-2016 record from Professor Mills to John Mahama. The issuance of small-scale mining leases. Only 56. 56.
In 8 years.
In 8 years. I decided to do same for 7.5 years. This is it. You see how fat it is. You see how fat it is.
How many?
1,503. 56 against 1,503. Same period.
Where did you get this document?
Yes, this is a download from the Ghana repository, the Ghana mining repository.
Maybe the gold prices are encouraging.
What is going on? Look at how thick it is. Look at how thick. Over 1,500. This year alone, they've done 70. Just 2 months, they've done 38.
Of new licenses.
New licenses.
Hello. When some of them are free, why? When the son money now, why? When some of them are free, you see, we're sick as young. Hey, when some of them are now, why? POP, yeah. I say, wait. We are gonna need your new asem. Moko from some money in free. What we are far. You hear money in asem free, you see. Who say cross the other? Cross? Not they. POP. Hey, POP. Me no kasaba kwa so that. Hey, POP. Now minimum no kasaba kwa so that. Hey, POP. Minimum no kasaba kwa so that. Minimum no kasaba jaje no. O boya to say. Mate who boya to say. Who boya to. Kato boy for say you obi ha. Wo be ma tuo so. What did you hakete? Wo plan what did you hakete? Bala munya. Na betre munya. You be da bi ma sister ya be stand this here. Da munya. Da mi me ho ya be stand mo kasa. Ya nya hwe ya be sa ba mo. Ya be sa ba mo. Che. Who you be? Who you be ba? Ya ka tro me ka tro da tu you be. Jano, munya. Munya dem. Ba ka tro ko kamali ya do. O you be aduma. Hey, how we just start excavator no. Ni excavator no yanko. Munyi mu fa mu ma ya yi. Hey, why the tuba sino? Mun tuba sino yanko. Hey boy. Chama wai. Ko to ni be ha, sabra. Be yo ha. Hey. Hey, munya da no. Hey, munya betre. Hey, I say why? Hey, I say. Hey, ube kuyan. Hey. We are down kuyan. Hey, we are down kuyan.
Ya no kan ba ko ku ya. Ya no kan ba ko ku ya. Say about to throw. About to throw. We are out to throw so. O to throw so. O nya gana ni. O nya gana no to throw so. Fa ma ho. O to throw so. O to throw so. O to ma. O to throw so. O to throw so. E mo ni to no free sam. E mo ni to no. Mo ni to no. Wa fa mo no. Mo ni to no. I say. We are out to us, right? What to us, right? What to us? I want to open it to you. 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 I said, my press out to this year. Minimum system. Hey, minimum system. Hey, over there. What to do? I put open it to you. Open it to you. I say,
is filled with energy, creativity, and ambition. The people of Africa are not asking for handouts. They're demanding opportunities in the new global architecture so they can have access to education, healthcare, and jobs to be able to build better lives for themselves, their families, and their descendants. In Ghana, we've taken bold and decisive steps to ensure that no one is left behind in our national development, and we have shown that it is possible. Our flagship free senior high school policy has benefited 5.7 million young people, many of whom would have been denied the opportunity to learn, to dream, and to succeed. This initiative has transformed the lives of millions, positioning the next generation of Ghanaians to take their place as leaders in the global economy.
Stop illegal mining! Stop illegal mining in Ghana! Stop illegal mining in Ghana! President Akufo-Addo! Stop illegal mining in Ghana! Release the protesters now! Release the protesters now! Stop holding them without legal representation! Stop holding them without medical attention! Stop holding them without food and water! Ghana's president is involved in illegal mining, arresting protesters without legal representation, holding them for days without food and water. And he's here talking about the environmental issues. Stop illegal mining! Stop illegal mining in Ghana!
What is the difference between the ordinary thief and the political thief? Number one, the ordinary thief steals your money, your bag, your watch, and your jewelry, isn't it? But the political thief steals your future, your career, your education, your health, and your business. Number two, the hilarious part is that the ordinary thief will choose whom to rob. But you are the one who choose the political thief to rob you. Because we choose them. We vote them. We blindly say we are not blind. Who is deceiving who? The ridiculous part of the whole issue is that we will fight to defend and protect our belongings from the ordinary thief. Is it not? But we fight each other to defend and protect the political thief. Is that not what we do? Thugs will be fighting themselves to protect those that are stealing our career, stealing our job, stealing our health, stealing our success. What a shame.
If you reach a certain stage in life and there is nobody who can look you in the eye and tell you the truth, you are doomed. And that is where our country has gotten to. We need to rescue this country. Wallahi. And I feel very terrible as a Ghanaian at this time. This country is in serious trouble, ladies and gentlemen. We are in serious trouble. We need to rescue this country, ladies and gentlemen. The presidency has been so depraved, so muddied, so dirtied, that I tell you in all sincerity as a Ghanaian, that I feel terribly sad today as a Ghanaian. We need to rescue this country. Wallahi, inshallah.
Please don't cry.
We shall rescue our country.
Government is broke, government is broke. The people are spending billions to go inside the government that is broke. Have you ever seen a minister who resigned because government is broke before? Government has no money. Have you ever seen a governor who said, ladies and gentlemen, when I was elected, I thought the government had money. Now I discover government has no money, I resign. Have you ever seen it? Government has no money, but they are bringing money out at election time. Where is that money coming from? So they are lying. What is happening is that there are two types of wicked people in government. Type 1, they eat current money. Any money they find in government, they will eat it. They are wicked about that one. There is type 2. Type 2, they eat current money and future money. They will say, my term will end next year. When I leave, how will I eat money? Let me borrow money now and borrow money of the future and eat it now.
Right, hello, good morning and welcome to the show. This is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. It's a Thursday, the 26th day of September 2024. By His grace, we're live and we're here. We're at another edition of this show. A gratitude will go to Most High God for the rare privilege of being alive and, of course, the opportunity of having another conversation around the top stories making rounds here in our dear Republic. I'll let you into our panel for the morning's conversation shortly, but let's take a look at the front pages of our newspapers. Daily Graphic, President Akufo-Addo at UN General Assembly. Security Council needs overhaul. Structure deficient in addressing global challenges. Students Loan Trust Fund disburses 20 million cedis to students. Promoting inclusive governance. Winner takes all system must stop. Experts advocate. 32 journalists, media houses nominated for awards. The Ghanaian Times. At UN General Assembly, will hold free, fair, transparent elections. President assures international community. Tidal waves threaten power installations within Abuadzi enclave. VIP tolls Agona West East, Goma Central to canvass for votes. Gun-toting illegal miners threatening fisher folks on Black Volta. Inland fishermen president reveals. Daily Guide. Let our people go. NDC defense protesters, 11 more remanded. Government moves to pay Trafigura. OBA Westco pasta production facility begins. ECG boss resigns. Nana to grace 28th GJ Awards. Winners announced. The New Crusading Guide. Baumia's digital solution to revolutionize Ghana's transport industry. Free SHS has transformed 5.7 million lives in Ghana. Akufo-Addo to world leaders. Ghana's economy, a resilient rise to prosperity. TDC to commence construction of 832 housing units. Yagbonura Anes Abu-Jinapo for promoting development in Damongo. Mauko Kuaji honored by Casting Society of America. Blaze investment to rescue Ghana football with FIFA-approved hybrid pitches. The Insight. Baumia boys are arrogant. NPP UK laments. Insists breaking 8 will be difficult. Why attacks on Ghana's founder are attacks on Ghanaian masses. Alan's running mate Sheikh Soti region with great transformational plan for youth and others. Lumumba's family turns down Belgian apology over role in his killing. Commonwealth honors Herman Chinri Hesse. The Daily Statesman. December elections will be free and fair. Akufo-Addo reassures international community. Baumia to unveil digital solution for local taxi drivers. Ghana deepens diplomatic relations with Madagascar and St. Lucia. TDC begins work on 832 housing units. Daily Post. Laying sword blasts government and courts for collaborating to deny Democracy Hub demonstrators bail. Mahama cut sword for the construction of 500-seater sports facility in Bole Bamboy. Dubik Mahama resigns as ECG boss. Load shedding is back. Minority claim citing 500 megawatts deficit. Business and Financial Times. Disregard for contract sanctity, a worry for investors. strict enforcement of engineering standards set for June 2025. T-bill yields surge as government struggles to meet auction targets. Enhancing cocoa farmers' incomes and restructuring international bonds bold. Stanbic Bank's Karen Kwatin. Feature, the leadership void. Leadership starts with you. Another feature, World Tourism Day 2024, Ghana's unwavering commitment to sustainable tourism and peace. And that's about it for the front pages. We'll be back shortly.
She's coming. She's coming.
Oh, it's in.
Brother, we see so.
Boss, let's go back.
Here, take this.
She's coming.
I know. Go to the pharmacy now.
She's coming. Oh.
She's here. Pay faster, pay safer, and pay easy with Momo app. Download now and pay with the QR code, merchant ID, and so much more.
In today's modern world, stairs are a challenge, especially for our elderly and those with health concerns. Navigating them can be difficult and even dangerous, but there's a safer way to move vertically. Lifts and Elevators Limited Company, your answer to a more accessible and secure vertical transportation. Our elevators and escalators, including top-of-the-line pneumatic vacuum elevators, Fuji elevators and escalators, offer a safer and more convenient alternative, eliminating the risks of stairs and enhancing accessibility for homes, businesses, and hospitals. Choose safety and convenience with Lifts and Elevators Limited Company. Elevate your spaces today. For more information, visit our website at www.elevatorsgh.org or call now on 0200-535-515. Lifts and Elevators Limited Company, the elevator people.
Anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh breath.
I'm a fair missy way.
The patch of Bantama.
Matias.
It's her smile, the fresh breath.
Me, Gidi said we used to Cal 360 toothpaste. Civic Cal 360 toothpaste.
That's Kia. Cal 360 toothpaste. It's a gum protector. Onim jom kasan.
Ile Hossein. Cal 360 did the way. It's cool mint. Gives me fresh breath and your confidence booster.
You will see so feeling kika when you know Cal 360 toothpaste.
Happy smile.
Cal 360 toothpaste, anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh breath. Cal, happy smile. This advert is FDA approved.
Ama, nansi mi jeno wo bin enkoye kwao. Ama ma ye bohu se kontomra akija.
Nansi me hu se me nyo basima kura. Ama me kunu ni me into kwankwa. Oyiwa. Enye mo ko. Give us JC lecture and the capsules. Aye numbum en ho asem na mo kana. E boa emma ene meme nyina. Ne ma wo ba ye obesima. Na be ma so aye be masima. Ya, we be boa wuku. Ama ne giant sa wo de hye ne botum. Na wanyinya ne nim tisese ne oyi chokmo. Give us GC mixture ene castle. Achisa.
A painful a battle one more menu for one kwada when if you do me
Choose the perfect prize every week and stand to win your choice of exciting prizes. All to get more of what matters to you. Exclusive to Betway. Betway, get way more. Terms and conditions apply. Regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. No under 18.
Welcome to Rehoboth Palms, Ayimensa, where your future home is taking shape. Discover a community like no other, designed for families and individuals seeking comfort and connection. Enjoy a host of amenities, including a swimming pool, tennis courts, kids playground, and serene sitting areas, all designed for your enjoyment. Embrace the opportunity to be part of this vibrant community with flexible installment plans available. Your dream home is waiting at Rehoboth Palms Ayimensa, where every moment is a promise of home and affordable luxury. Visit us today at 145 North Legon, Accra. Call us on +233 244 764 499 or +233 204 950 810. For our UK clients, you can reach us on +44 190 853 3149 or +44 791 737 6631 or visit www.rehobothpropertiesgh.com to learn more. A community like no other. Welcome to Rehoboth Ayimensa.
Luck is everywhere.
8K. Hey, you get an 8K. Get a packing from your cook. Hey, wait. You go put it on his tab. This is my man. Good luck.
We'll deal with you. We have star 712. It's what you follow. I'm on dialing the magic numbers. Star 712. Now welcome to the luckiest. And now with me at home ticket. You can buy for yourself or your loved one.
Mommy, tell mommy who's here.
You're buying for me, right?
Or who else?
Oh.
Let me choose buy tickets for others.
Love you, boo boo.
Maybe straight to option 4.
Now we try you need to buy tickets worth 50 Ghana to qualify. Yes, you can buy random or preferred tickets.
I'm choosing random ticket.
Listen, if you buy the random ticket, the system chooses a random number for you. But if you buy the preferred, you get to input your own preferred 5 digits. 5.
Baby, give me your 5 numbers.
And how much are we buying?
Babe, look at the body and buy you.
With your body,
Hey,
there, tread cautiously. Now follow the prompts and confirm. Now the luckiest.
The luckiest is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform, not for persons below 18 years. TNCs apply.
Hey, Walambo! I asked him to buy me original politics.
Hey, please don't make mistake. Talk about Papa. Open the back man. And you politics no girl. Papa.
Papa, can ruffle.
The politics is original. The first and the best.
What is? Ukota also said the acrobat using it.
Politics, yes.
Cratchy, unemu bua unkoisha Dr. Ma uye denwa.
Oh, Mr. Yamfan come ami buru wa. Ayi maami do buru. To ni atele be ko. Bra, mumi yamfan ko Dr. Ma ho. Dr. Ma no ya de. Bra, se pa ni nompe mu adwuma sasabro slow Dr. Ma oye.
Sorry ni kemi kwa na meka. Oh, nompe mu nimdi onu na ye expert nya zanfo no. O akra eni kumasi nompe mu expert yen kan kire.
Right, welcome back to the show. If you just joined us, this is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. And just get 10%. You stand a chance of getting 10% off food, drinks, beauty and cosmetics, home essentials, electrical appliances, mobile phone and accessories, clothing, footwear, made in Ghana goods, and so much more at the Momo Cashless Market. You heard right. From the 2nd to the 6th of October at the God Park, Tetekwashi Interchange, there will be over 100 merchants in one place with amazing discounts for all Momo customers. Fun activities include artist performance, DJs on rotation, board and TV games, kids zone, and giveaways. Join the fun at the God Park, Tetekwashi Interchange, from the 2nd to the 6th of October 2024, each day from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. and just Momo everywhere you go. And if you're looking for that toothpaste that will take care of the entire family, the recommended family toothpaste is KL 360 toothpaste. It will also save you some money and is approved by the Food and Drugs Authority. KL 360 toothpaste provides you and your family with all-round dental protection throughout the day with freshness. KL 360 toothpaste is good for kids, children, and adults. Let your family be a proud family when they step out by constantly using KL 360 toothpaste. KL 360 toothpaste brightens your teeth, prevents cavity, and with its cool mint gives you fresh breath throughout the day and protects the gum from decaying. For consistency and quality, use KL 360 toothpaste. It's another product from Samara Company Limited, producers of Sasso. Is available in all supermarkets, malls, and provision shops. Call Samara Company on 0246 864 798. KL 360 toothpaste, happy smile. And with me on the show this morning, I have a member of the Public Accounts Committee and also the Education Committee. On the Education Committee, I don't know if he's deputy ranking or
I am deputy ranking.
Deputy ranking, okay. And he's also the member of Parliament representing a good people of Busa South. Dr. Clement Park is here with me on the show. Good morning, Doc.
Good morning, Dr. Abbey.
Okay.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
It's been a while.
Yes.
It's always good to be here.
We'll be monitoring you.
And I've always been monitoring you too.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, also with me on the show this morning is a legal practitioner. He's also a lecturer, a university lecturer, and is a member of the communications team of the NPP. Ishak Ibrahim is here with me on the show. Council,
yes.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
How are you?
I'm doing quite well.
I haven't seen you in a bit.
Yes. Okay. I think my first time when we met, yes. I returned, I think by then you were at Kumasi.
Yes.
So it's nice meeting you again.
How are things? How is campus?
Campus is going quite well.
No strike at your end?
No, but I understood some of the university workers, union, not lecturers,
yes.
Are threatening strike, and I think we've already seen
they have actually embarked on it. So
okay.
The University of Ghana has actually issued a statement.
Yes.
Indicating that they are postponing the
reopening.
Yes. And also I think allocation of halls and all that. Because I think the critical staff involved there are not.
Yes. They are not post. That's right. I think I've
also seen another one, TUSAG.
Okay. Technical universities.
The technical universities, the senior staff. They also indicate that tomorrow. They'll also be embarking on a strike action, and they claim that agreements that they reached with government and promises that they were made to them since July has not been fulfilled.
July this year.
Yes.
The way it seems, I thought it was so quite.
They said agreement was in May. And the promise was to
be implemented in July. Yes.
And it's not been done. So they are also laying down their tools. But the worst part, and people might think of it as trivial.
Okay.
But the West,
the
mortuary workers,
yes.
They are starting today.
They are starting today.
Theirs is our PPE shortage, salary arrears, and interestingly, they raised the issue that the COVID allowance that was promised them during COVID has not been paid.
Has not been paid yet. Yes.
It looks like we're having a lot of
very
industrial action from left, right, and center.
Very worrisome.
I think that is important that we resolve this issue, so we don't have any problems with the academic calendar.
Randy, I mean, since this is about education, you wouldn't be surprised that I have an interest. I've been monitoring what is going on, particularly in the sector.
Is your interest because you are a ranking member or because you are a former deputy chief vendor?
Well, I think it is all of the above. And a former lecturer as well.
Yes, yes.
So it's all of the above.
You stopped lecturing?
You know, when
lecturers, you don't stop.
No, when you are in parliament.
All the lecturers in politics, they still...
Yes.
Yes. You can...
even got, members of parliament who are still adjunct lecturers.
You can apply.
Yes.
Okay. Because I think Kingsley Nyaku still does.
Yeah, you can apply.
The majority leader is a lecturer in our university.
You can apply.
Even your marking.
Okay.
You can apply
at the law faculty.
At the law, not a postgraduate.
Okay.
Yes.
You can apply formally.
Yes.
Then
but I thought you guys said that without a PhD you can't teach in university.
No, the law side. I think law, we don't usually emphasize PhD so much.
So you've exempted law?
Well, it's not maybe just by convention.
I have my problems with that
yes.
that whole thing, but maybe
okay.
it's for another,
no, as a member of parliament, you can apply, and if the committee approves you and the speaker grants it, then you can go on to engage in an economic venture.
Yes.
You know, work that would earn you some salary. But if it is on a volunteer basis, you can do that.
You can do that.
You know, when I was at the office of the president, I used to go and teach my class at the University of Ghana. But since I became a member of parliament, the responsibilities are a bit more Herculean.
You teach what, anthropology?
Yes. Okay. We have a department of archaeology and heritage studies. But archaeology is a subset of anthropology. And so I used to teach a specialized class for level 400 students. So I used to do that. And I must say I enjoyed it a lot. But these days it's quite time consuming to do both. Given all my many other responsibilities.
You must love a lot of Greco-Roman movies.
Yes, I used to do that in some of my classes.
Right.
When you are going to look at ancient Egypt and the Mayan Empire and you know, the Aztecs and Incas, you must show some movies. And then you look at contemporary society as well.
So let's look at the unrest.
Yeah, so it's very worrying. And if we don't make serious interventions, and by we as a state, and the state represented by government, we could potentially have a situation where all our public tertiary institutions would come to a standstill as far as teaching and learning is concerned. As we are speaking now, the University Administrators Association, the Senior Staff Association, the Teachers and Educational Workers Union, TEU, they are all on strike. And that is why the University, TEU is also on strike.
Yes.
That is why the University of Ghana has had to postpone.
So that's in all public universities?
Yes. That is why the University of Ghana has had to issue a public statement postponing the reopening of University of Ghana. You just indicated that the senior staff of the technical universities have also indicated that they are going to go on strike. And CTAG, which is the lecturers of the colleges of education, having gone on a very prolonged strike, decided to resume. But they've also signaled that government has failed to meet its commitments to them. So don't be surprised.
That was quite recent.
Yes. So they've issued a public notice that they would resume the strike. So if you have...
But are they not aware that we are broke?
Well, the question of being broke is subjective.
Yeah.
When people who are entitled to certain conditions of service as per collective agreements.
And to make it, and just to put it in context, this is just to keep them afloat. It is not as if they have some fantastic salaries.
Exactly.
Really, it's for them to keep body and soul together.
Exactly. But the point is that when you have a system where workers, people who are providing services and are entitled to some conditions of service and benefits agreed upon, are being denied those conditions of service, or government is failing to meet its obligations to them timelessly, and yet they see the conduct, the posture, and expenditures being undertaken by government, and yet they are being denied their due, it becomes very difficult to persuade them to continue waiting and to sacrifice. And I think that is why we are where we are. And we can cite so many examples of how under this government resources have been expended in ways that makes it difficult for all of these unions to accept the argument that government is incapable of mobilizing the requisite resources to meet their needs. And how do you convince members of TEU that their off-campus allowance, their vehicle maintenance allowance should wait when you can find money to invest in the construction of a personally pledged national cathedral, when you can find money to pay a contractor who has done no work in terms of constructing a mini hydroelectric dam in Palugu, for example. So government's own conduct, posture and behavior is making it very difficult for these workers to appreciate any excuses that government seeks to make. I mean, how do you convince them that a government that can find money to pay for a judgment debt occasioned by a family feud cannot find money to pay them? I mean, you know exactly what I'm referring to. Or this issue of the abrogation of the contract between the government of Ghana and I believe the company is called Trafigura, occasioned by a family feud, and we are paying. How do you convince, members of TEU or Gawa or FUSAG that they should wait? And that is the situation in which we find ourselves. If I have made the argument that the only time that government seems incapable of mobilizing the requisite resources is when it comes to what the people want and the needs of the people. When it comes to what government wants to do, government has always found a way to mobilize the resources to do what it wants to do. So I have tended to reject the argument that we are broke because government finds the money to do what it wants, but is unable to find the money to do what the people want. And these strikes that are coming up have serious implications for teaching and learning. Clearly, you know that the University of Ghana and other universities should be reopening. That is not happening. It is going to affect the academic calendar, which suffered a great deal of distortion as a result of COVID. We are now beginning to get to the semblance of a stable academic calendar post-COVID. And so when you have these strikes, what is then going to happen is that we wouldn't be able to achieve a stable academic calendar. And that would impact on the students because the time that will be available for the lecturers to take them through the requisite course outlines, the student to lecture contact hours would be affected There are some PhD students who are here should be doing their vivas, or if you like, defending their project proposals.
Okay.
That is not going to happen because of this strike action that is being declared by the various worker unions in our tertiary institutions. And as I said, if care is not taken, and the senior staff of the technical universities goes on strike, and they have indicated that, and then the lecturers of the colleges of education also go on strikes, then that would mean that all the universities, public universities, both traditional and technical, all colleges of education, teaching and learning would come to a halt, and that has serious implications. So I would want to urge the government to do the needful by meeting its obligations to all of these workers who have sacrificed and continue to sacrifice to keep the system running. I mean, the conditions of Ghanaians have worsened. Cost of living, we all know, is very high. Inflation, although has come down from the 50%, it is still not at a level that would allow for the take-home pay of workers to be sufficient to take them through a month. I mean, a tube of yam, Randy, today sells for 50 Ghana cedis. Just a tube of yam. You know, even an egg sells for 2 Ghana cedis. So even the common basic needs of the ordinary Ghanaian are not easy to come by. So when they are asking for their due, it is not because they don't have sympathies for what we all agree is a challenging economy, but it's because they want to survive and thrive. And I've said it and I'll say it again. Self-preservation is the essence of every life form. And clearly we must blame the Akufo-Addo Bawumia-led NPP government. When you take us from, 4 Ghana cedis to $1 to 16 Ghana cedis to $1, it has implications. And that is what we are witnessing. So these are all consequences of the very poor economic management that we have witnessed over the past 7 to almost 8 years. So, but I believe that government ought to bite the bullet and find the needed resources to meet the expectations as per the collective agreements signed between government and these unions so that they can go back to work for academic work to resume. It is very frightening because, as you indicated, it is not only in the educational sector. I mean, we are getting signals. Even as we speak, I hear that staff of the National Commission for Civic Education, they are also on strike. The NCCE, they are on strike. This is the institution that is supposed to educate all of us about our civic responsibilities. They are on strike. You just mentioned that the Mortuary Workers Association. I mean, Ghanaians are suffering indignities that we have never suffered in the history of this republic. Under this very atrocious government, headed by Akufo-Addo and Bawumia, even in our death, we are going to suffer indignities. How is it possible that for a government that got revenues in excess of 30 billion Ghana cedis on the back of COVID, expended it in ways that still boggles the mind of ordinary Ghanaians? And anyone who challenges me should take a look at the audit report on the COVID-19 expenditure, how the monies were used, the quantums of monies that ostensibly were used to procure PPEs. And today, our mortuary workers are complaining about a lack of personal protective equipment and that they have not been paid allowances that they ought to have been paid as a result of what we all agreed was justified in terms of motivating and even paying frontline workers who risked their lives when the pandemic struck our country. And they are right. They are at the end of it. These are the people who have the responsibility of taking care of our bodies. And they are not even being taken care of. So, as we are alive, we are suffering indignities under this government, and in death, we are going to suffer indignities under the Akufo-Addo Bawumia-led NPP government. The only solution is to ensure that we vote them out, because you cannot expect the same group of people who have brought us into this calamitous state to be the panacea of the problems that they have inflicted upon us.
Right. Okay. Now, Council, how do we navigate this?
Thank you very much, and good morning to your listeners. Yes, the strikes situation as reported, especially in the universities, is really quite unfortunate. It's true that if the issues are not resolved very quickly, it could affect the academic calendar. Quite apart from COVID disrupting it, I think last year and the year before, UTAC activities have actually disrupted it. It got to a point that as lecturers, I can tell you that we don't actually have a break anymore, because some lecturers are lecturing throughout the whole year, especially if you are lecturing first year, second year, or third year, because the academic calendar is such a way that some students are in, others are out. Currently, our level 300 and 400 are on campus, whilst level 100 will start in January, and level 200 was meant to start in October. So it's really affecting us, and I think this strike again is going to affect us. As to what the government can do, I believe, contrary to my good friend's opinion, I believe government is already doing a lot. And I come to see why government is doing a lot, and we need to be a bit patient. In the education sector, for example, when you strike the agreement with the government, the book and research allowance, government really agreed to most of the requests of UTAC. I'm glad to tell you that last week and this week, a lot of lecturers have received their book and research allowance. Each lecturer is receiving an average of 36,000. Look at the number of public universities.
36,000 cedis.
Cedis, yes, for books and no, for the whole year.
But UTAC is not on strike.
Let me, I will explain. No, I'm just talking about what government is already doing. The book and research allowance, almost 36,000, is paid to each lecturer. Multiplied by the number of lecturers we have in each university.
That's like 3,000 cedis a month.
No, sorry?
That's like 3,000 cedis a month.
Well, I've not done the division.
There's 36 for a year, right?
Yes, 36,000 a year. Yes, for books and
research allowance.
Research allowance. So that's something to be welcome. And then I'm sure most of my colleagues are very happy at the moment. I think the technical universities were asking for a similar treatment, because since they've upgraded them to university, some of them as qualified as those teaching the university. It's just a choice of the institution.
Yeah, they also have the same PhD thing. You need a PhD to lecture.
I think so. I think the same thing, yes. So they are just requesting for similar thing. And government have promised them. And mind you, this books and research allowance was actually due to be paid in July, but it's just been paid now. So I think the tertiary, the technical university, we just need to exercise a bit patience, because they don't pay it at once. Some universities, I understood Legon and Co., some of them had theirs about 3 weeks ago, whilst UPSA and other universities, they just received theirs last week and this week. So I'm sure government has not forgotten about them.
Hey, then Council, you are at a good place.
Well, I'm not. Without personal,
I'm creating pressure for you.
Without personalizing, I think the government is doing well in that side. They are sticking to agreement, but sometimes you may want to stick to agreement, but due to certain problems, you may be struggling to meet your obligations. So I'm just going to urge my colleagues in the technical universities that government would soon come to them to another agreement. The university workers also said, I think they made various requests. Some of them government have listened. I'm not sure why they have not yet been implemented. I'm sure that my colleague will agree with me. 2016, NDC was in a similar situation. Because election year, believe it or not, most people think that the best way to get your side of the bargain implemented is to threaten strike. Because at that time, government is much more vulnerable because the ruling party will want to stay in power. And some of these vulnerabilities...
Government is much more sensible.
Yes. I'm sure if government have the needed resources to even give a little bit extra, they will give everybody. And even January, I think pay was actually increased by 18%. So government is actually very sensitive when it comes to workers' needs. But as to what is in the pot, we need to understand why we are in this situation in the first place. Again, I don't want to remind us of the pain that COVID-19 contributed to our wars, as well as the Russia-Ukraine war. It led to so many other problems. I mean, look, it's real. With COVID-19 effects, it led to global cost of living crisis. And Ghana is not in isolation. I'm just not advocating Ghana. Even the advanced countries are experiencing the effect up to today. Look at the American system. Even the flag bearer of the Democratic Party accepted that there is cost of living crisis in the United States. And that if she happens to become president, that will be the first thing she will tackle. Look at Britain, another advanced country. Food banks. For the first time in my life, when I visited Britain last year, I've seen people queuing food banks to receive food. Students queuing to receive food from charity. So the cost of living, global cost of living crisis is a reality. And it's really, really affecting Ghana to the extent that it led to a bit of credit crunch that we have to go to IMF for a bail, for a bailout. So with these particular situations, and the economy beginning to recover, I think as Ghanaian citizens, we all need to accept that we're all in it together. And the need for us to be a little bit more understanding. I'm not saying government will deny them what is due to them. No. A responsible government would always give every citizen what is due for them. But I think let us not use election year as panacea, with everybody saying that this is the time to deal with the government, because government has become much more vulnerable as we go near the elections. So let's be more understanding, give government some time. I'm sure the government would really come to everybody's aid. There are a number of issues my colleague also raised, that government is a bit insensitive. Government can find money to deal with issues. For example, he talked about what they call it, judgment debt. I mean, judgment debt, I mean, we saw some of the consequences of not actually paying immediately of the judgment debt. And the tribunals, as I said, those judgments are final. So I was surprised that the Minister of Finance had not even settled it. So if the Minister of Finance is actually taking steps to settle judgment debts now, I think that would be the responsible thing to do. But I should say that if you find money for judgment debt, then you should equally be able to find money to pay to those workers striking. I find it a bit troubling, because if government is faced with so many problems, sometimes they have to just prioritize. And I think prioritizing settling judgment debt will be the right thing to do, because it can even lead to international humiliations. Look at government building in the United Kingdom being confiscated by a private citizen of that country. Wouldn't that be more humiliating to us as a nation? So I am sure that government will surely come to the aid of those workers. It's not time to strike yet. For the sake of our students, I believe we need to talk more instead of striking. As I said, if this academic calendar is disrupted further, where are we going? Are we going to have 4, 5-tier systems? I mean, the burden is huge. And I think at this stage, I would invite the opposition, for the sake of national interest, to even have more understanding, because our economy is beginning to recover. And if we are not very careful, we might push the system so much that we'll go back to 2-3 years ago when the situation was really, really bad. So I think the workers need to have more understanding. And we invite the opposition to actually also talk to the workers, that we all in it together, and this is not the time to strike. This is the time to talk.
All right, okay.
Well,
we'll try and do that.
I appreciate my brother's effort to make a case, but it is very difficult in a system where the issues are self-evident. I mean, when you have a government giving away sole source contracts.
Hold on a bit. We'll get back to these issues, but we heard about the resignation of the managing director of ECG last night, and then I think that the minority also issued a statement about the energy sector, and ASEP had earlier on issued a statement, and I'm expecting to speak with Mr. Ben Boachi, the executive director of ASEP, shortly. But before we get to Ben, the ranking member on energy, who's also the MP for Yape Kusogu, the Honorable John Jinapo, has joined us via Zoom, and would take his views on this before we speak with ASEP on the issues in the energy ecosystem. Good morning, JJ.
Morning, Randy. I don't know whether my voice and video is clear because of where I am.
Yes, I can hear you and I can see you.
I'll try. I can only forgive me if it's off.
You sound excited.
Not really. Not exciting at all. Very difficult moment. But the current load shedding is not going to be easy for all of us.
Before we get to the load shedding, yesterday we had the announcement of the ECG MD, the legal practitioner, Dubik Mahama. But I saw a post. First of all, confirm whether it's indeed your post. A post where you had indicated that he was being pushed because he wasn't complying with something. I think this was just before the announcement of his resignation came up. Was that your verified account? Was that your post?
Yes, Randy, exactly so. I posted about 5 or 10 minutes before the announcement came out because I had gotten information that some people related to the president insisted on procuring light crude oil in a certain manner, which Dubik, the MD for ECG, resisted. Because when ECG and the other stakeholders in the energy sector appeared before the Mines and Energy Committee somewhere in May, June, the cause of the load shedding then was inadequate fuel. Because this government hasn't added any infrastructure to the gas processing plant they inherited, and I can confirm to you that not even 1 kilometer of pipeline has been added to what this government inherited. Now demand outstripped the supply of gas. And so there's a deficit of about 60 MMscf. So they have to procure light crude oil at about $40 million every month. That translates to about 180 million by the time this year ends. But that is not even the problem. The key problem is who procures the light crude oil. We've maintained that VRA, being the lead agency in the generation sector, should rather be procuring the light crude oil for the other entities. But when Ken Ofori-Atta was minister, he insisted that the procurement is done directly under his instructions, and ECG is then instructed to pay directly without recourse to the cash waterfall mechanism. And you and I recall that PRC has been up in arms with ECG because when they do that, they no longer adhere to the principle of the cash waterfall mechanism. And so recently, Dubik has tried to exercise his authority and to do what is right and proper. That has led to the decision to kick him out. He was determined to do what is proper, what is right, and restore to the cash waterfall mechanism, such that if anybody wanted to buy fuel, it will reflect in the cash waterfall mechanism. We'll know those behind the procurement of fuel so that we can track it. But he was asked to exit, and unfortunately, he's exited. And that is why he cited personal reasons for his decision to exit. But the painful thing is that by the end of the year, we'll have a debt of about $480 million on account of light crude oil. Meanwhile, Tullow has put together a proposal to government to ramp up the production of gas by an additional 100 mmscf. That will be enough to meet our requirement. The government has not responded positively, and so as a result, there's a deadlock, and we will continue to procure light crude oil. This month, they've not been able to procure enough light crude oil, and so there's a deficit of about 500 megawatts, leading to the current load shedding that we are experiencing.
So you're saying that we have a problem. We're solving the problem with the procurement of crude at $40 million a month. This is not going through the cash waterfall mechanism. However, ECG is paying for this crude, or is expected to pay for this crude, with money that accrues under the cash waterfall mechanism, although the purchase is not going through the cash waterfall mechanism. It's gotten to a point where the MD thinks that things must change, and he obviously has had to leave. And we're shedding load because we've not been able to procure $40 million worth of crude. And you also say that there appears to be an alternative of a ramping up, which has been presented to government, but government has not heeded to that, ostensibly because government is rather interested in the procurement of crude at $40 million a month. Is that a point you're making?
Precisely so. Precisely so. And not just that. Tullow has been supplying gas, and since January to date, not even $1 has been paid to Tullow. You can cross-check from Tullow. Please cross-check from Tullow. ENI has also been supplying gas. Indeed, ENI, the ENI floating storage unit, which is the FSRU, has an integrated gas processing plant as part of the FSRU. Now, FPSO, floating storage and production and offloading unit. As we speak, ENI has not been paid, and so ENI has drawn down on the guarantee to an extent that out of the 500 million, the guarantee is now 120 million. They are threatening to withdraw the remaining 20. Once they draw down the remaining 20, it means that technically Ghana is in default. It will affect the World Bank guarantee, and it will affect all guarantees provided by the World Bank. So as we speak now, ENI has reduced its supply of gas due to non-payment of gas. This is because all the monies accruing to ECG, a chunk of it is channeled into the procurement of light crude oil to the detriment of the payment of gas, culminating in shortage of gas supply. And now, because of the shortage in gas supply, some of the thermal plants are unable to run, and we are low because of the gas shortage.
Now, JJ, I have here a press release from Gridco, and it reads, interruption in power supply. The Ghana Grid Company Limited, Gridco, and the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, wish to inform the public that due to a challenge at the Ghana National Gas Limited Company, GNGC, gas processing plant GPP at Etwabo, gas supply for power generation has been limited, which has caused some customers to experience intermittent interruption in power supply. We apologize unreservedly for the inconveniences caused to the public as a result of this challenge. Engineers from GNGC are currently working to address the issue and restore full supply of gas. Gridco and ECG will continue to monitor the situation, which is expected to normalize once the issue at the plant is addressed. Now, Gridco says this is the problem that we have. You are talking about something else.
That is inaccurate. Even when the gas processing plant was being renovated or worked on, there was no load shedding because at that time they had some minimum amount of gas. Now, as we speak, gas is not coming, but more importantly, there's a shortage of light crude oil. And because there's a shortage of light crude oil, they are unable to produce enough power. Ghana Gas has its own challenges, but most of our plants are dual fuel plants. When we say they are dual fuel plants, it means that they can run both on light crude oil and they can also run on gas. But ask them, is it true that ENI has reduced supply of gas or not? And what is accounting for ENI's reduction of the supply of gas? Is it true that since January to date, we've not paid even $1 to Tallow because they've used all the money to procure light crude oil? IPPs have just issued a threatening to curtail the supply of power because about $1.2 billion of our standing liabilities has not been paid. The PURC itself, which is the regulator, recently came out with a letter to the president indicating that ECG was on the brink of bankruptcy. They also stated that ECG was not abiding by the cash waterfall mechanism and rather paying for light crude oil off the cash waterfall mechanism. Government of Ghana itself, MMDAs, it is in the report. This is not me saying it. Since August 2023, 200 million cedis every month, the Ministry of Finance has failed to pay that money. It's ballooned to about 1.8 billion as we speak. If you do a rough estimate of the fresh energy sector liabilities, it takes you to almost $2.3 billion current liabilities that ought to be paid in order for the sector to function well. And so that is a fact. And sometimes my advice to Gridco, and the ECG MD was doing it, listening to politicians and telling us untruths. When there was load shedding, they told us they were servicing some transformers. But when we summoned them before the Mines and Energy Committee, they considered that they were shedding load due to inadequate fuel. And that report was signed by Atachia. Honorable Atachia is a member of parliament for Abuakwa South, if I got it right. He's an MPP member of parliament. So he wouldn't sign a report which goes against his government if it's not true. So they should stop peddling falsehood, deal with the issue, restore integrity, take away the unnecessary political interference, and allow the regulator, the PURC, and the sector agencies to make independent decisions and serve the people of Ghana. Ghana Gas alone cannot be the cause of the load shedding. We've had situations where Ghana Gas completely shuts down for routine maintenance, and we knew they were going to do routine maintenance. So why did they not buy enough fuel to stop this period? I refuse this. It's not true, and it's false.
Now, JJ, I'm sure that you've seen the ASEP statement issued on the 19th of September. Now, there is something quite interesting, and it's in line with some of the things that you've raised. They focus on revenue collection. A part of the statement focuses on revenue collection by the ECG. And they say that ECG does not collect enough revenue to account for power sales. And they say that this situation has worsened over time despite claims that the company is doing better. And they give us some data. They say between 2017 and 2022, ECG's losses increased from about 295 million cedis in 2017 to 9.7 billion in 2022. And they also say that recent reports published by the PRC show that under recoveries between August 2023 and July 2024 amounts to about 13.6 billion. And also the average collection rate within the period was an abysmal 43%. And they gave a table giving us month by month, August, September, October, up to July 2024. Now, there is an interesting angle. They say that this poor performance raises doubt about the efficiency of the touted digitalization efforts to bring more revenue through the new ECG Power app introduced in January 2023. And they say this new app replaced the ECG Power app, which had operated before December 2022. And the data, the monthly data, shows revenue performance has been worse over the period because on evidence, the switch of the apps was procurement driven rather than an efficiency measure. And they say they will explain why in subsequent sections, and a full review of the contract will be published soon. I'll be speaking with Ben Boachi after you to elaborate on this. But what do you make of this disclosure by ASEP with data?
Well, ASEP couldn't have put it better. And if you doubt it, go and look at ECG's financial statement. Their latest financial statement. In 2016, ECG made a profit of 316 million. From 2017, when they started this political interference, they started making losses. Their latest financial statement, 1 year, the loss they made was more than 10 billion. When we were leaving office, the losses was 22%. Today is more than 32%. No utility can survive with a loss of more than 32%. Kenya, Tanzania, and co. They do a loss range of between 2% and 6%. You are doing 32%. Aside that, Forex losses, about 500 million. So clearly, the sector is collapsing. That app was supposed to double their revenue to about 2 billion. They are currently doing around 850 million. And so clearly, it hasn't solved the problem. The problem rather appears to be worsening and exacerbating. At this rate, Randy, at this rate, if we do not stop the bleeding, if we do not turn things around, the entire energy sector will collapse. And that is a fact. That is why we brought on the PDS deal with about $500 million from the United States government to reduce the losses to 8%. These guys went and brought their cronies and eventually told us that the people they brought ended up swindling them. And today, look at where we are. Even Ghana has been blacklisted. So Compact 3, which other countries are enjoying, Ghana has been blacklisted. So what ASEP is put out is true, is a fact, and the figures speak for themselves. These are official figures, either from ECG's statement, from the cash waterfall mechanism, from PURC, from Gridco. You can check, even in the oil sector, because the oil sector has an impact on the power sector. Crude oil production has declined by more than 30%. That is unprecedented. ExxonMobil has exited Ghana, and Adako has exited Ghana. ENI is in court with the Republic of Ghana, and the sector is collapsing. Every sector in the energy sector is bleeding. And I hold the view strongly, that if we do not get this cabal out of power, investigate them through forensic audits, and hold those responsible, look, they'll continue to milk the energy sector, and the energy sector will collapse eventually.
What would you do differently?
I didn't hear you.
What will you do differently?
What we must do differently, for me, is to reset the sector. What we must do differently is to get a new system in place. Look, Tama Oil Refinery, they've had 7 different chief executives. 7. How do you expect them to perform? You appoint somebody just when you settle in, you hear of these same people fighting with them, and the person is kicked out. And let me use your medium to send a caution to Tema Oil Refinery staff and especially the senior staff. I'm aware that you are being pushed to sign a contract and give Tema Oil Refinery away to an entity. Don't do that. Because if you do anything untoward, when President Mahama assumes office, on the day of reckoning, these politicians will not be there. They've paid 30%, 7 million to Rockshore for a bottling plant costing 24 million. The work was supposed to be done in 2 years since 2021. They've abandoned site, they are not working, and Ghana Gas is alone. Ghana Gas is also being pushed to sign an $800 million contract for a consortium, which by all intents and purposes is foreign-owned and ought to come to Parliament. I've told Benasanti, don't do that. And I mean don't. Because we mean business. This system has been brought down on its knees. We will not accept a further collapse and entanglement of the system. We have a lot of work to do when we assume office. So in simple, look, we've had enough of this incompetence. We've had enough of this government. Let them take a bow. Let them move out. We reset the system and put the energy sector back on the path of growth. Like I said, if you check the 2016 financial statements, Gridco, ECG, VRA, all these companies were doing very, very well. Today, Gridco cannot even pay salaries. And you can check from Gridco. They've always taken overdraft to pay salaries. It's gone so bad that even the banks are not willing to give them overdrafts alone. Enough is enough. Randy.
All right, JJ, we'll leave it here. We'll continue the conversation with Ben. Thanks for joining us on the show. Right, so that was the Honorable John Jinapo MP for Yape Kusogu and also the ranking member on the Energy and Mines Committee in Parliament. Okay, I'm told that we have the Executive Director of ASEP, Mr. Ben Boachi, with us on the line. Good morning, Ben.
Good morning, Doc.
Hey, good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah. Good to see you too, yes. In a while.
You're looking good despite all the crises in your sector. How do you manage that?
It's just grace. It's a lot.
Right. Now,
yeah.
I've been reading your statement since you issued it on the 19th of September. So I think that I've read it about some 11 times. And something in me refuses to believe that this is a situation in Ghana. ECG's galamsey on Ghana's budget reaches a crescendo.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm saying ECG's galamsey on Ghana's budget reaches a crescendo. That's how you title the statement. And I say that I've read it about 11 times, and something inside me says this cannot be happening in Ghana.
Unfortunately, that is the reality. I think we've been talking about, the dependence of the power sector on Ghana's budget for so long. And for us, policy outcome is not, waiting to see these kinds of things happen. It is really about helping government take corrective decisions and actions to actually resolve them. And we have seen over time that this problem has persisted and not much was being done to actually address the problem. And the basic thing was, if you are buying power, sell the power, raise money, and pay everybody else in the value chain. And that hasn't been happening over time. And yet, we're being convinced that the power sector was improving. And ECG, which is the major corporate, has been improving. And the reality was starkly different from what the communications actually were. So, this is things that we've been talking about over the period. The data kept highlighting that, the performance was actually terrible. but the communication was that it was actually improving. And got into a point where you saw the regulator also writing to power holders that we need to take action to salvage the situation.
So Ben, we'll take the issues one after the other, but let me pick your view on this. Yesterday we heard of the resignation of Mr. Dubik Mahama. Did it come as a surprise to you?
No, we had actually called for his exit, and not just him. I think the top hierarchy of ECG would need radical reform if we are to actually fix this problem that we have on our hands. Because we're not seeing any effort.
Specifically,
that really.
Yeah, Ben. Specifically, what would top hierarchy entail?
The management that has been taking decisions lately on the performance of ECG.
Not the board?
I'm not sure. I think the board is largely new, haven't tracked it for a time. I think the board changed recently. So I wouldn't be able to trace that to the new board. But I mean, the management has always been convincing us that things were working right. Which was contrary to data, contrary to facts. That situation was actually worsening over time. And I thought that if they were gaslighting us to that degree, then they were not fit to continue to do their job that they had been given.
So your statement says that since the inception of the IMF program in 2022, a major condition was for the government to establish systems to eliminate the recurrent under-recoveries borne by the budget by 1, programming for the under-recoveries in the budget, and 2, taking corrective actions to prevent the materialization of the under-recoveries. However, there's been no sign of improvement, contrary to what the company makes the public believe. And the major challenge of the company has been, so you start with revenue collection. Take us through that.
Yeah, so, I mean, the revenue performance hasn't been good, and that's why government keeps intervening. And because most of the power plants are securitized by the state, if ECG fails to pay, then it means that government has to pay. And that's why IPP is always calling on Ministry of Finance to pay them. Our fuel suppliers will be recalling our guarantees to be able to offset indebtedness to them. So that's always been a problem. If ECG could pay, government of Ghana wouldn't have a responsibility in the power sector relative to payments. And IMF's program was for government to be able to have a full picture of what the under-recoveries looked like every year, because in the past, government was just paying as and when either IPPs threaten or gas suppliers threaten, then government will find money to pay. But we're not actually appropriating it. So it was not you won't see that in the budget that government is going to pay, for example, $1 billion in a year for under recoveries, but we're paying. So IMF wanted government to program it, predict how the inefficiencies will look like or the under recoveries will look like, and put it in the budget, and then make room for improvement, ensure that those predictions don't actually come to pass. But we kept seeing that government had programmed the under recoveries from 2023, which was about 23 billion cedis, and that was to grow in the space of 3 years to about 97 billion Ghana cedis if the corrective measures were not taken to actually address the problem. And you benchmark that, we've been talking about this for years, that if you look at how much we're going to program to spend on the under recoveries, 97 billion, against infrastructure, the social sectors, education, agriculture, health, road infrastructure, which was less than 50 billion, it didn't make sense for government of Ghana to behave that way. We needed to actually fix ECG to make sure that that projection wouldn't materialize, and we could rather invest that into social infrastructure. And that's why we've been talking, pushing that ECG performs, not to allow that to materialize. But it appears that has been the trajectory. The predictions are happening and even worsening, which means that we're going to pay more than could be predicted under the energy sector. And as we see it today, even the numbers that we put out may not be the global picture of the indebtedness in the sector. Because, for example, if I see how much has been drawn down on our LCs by ENI, I wouldn't be able to know how much the bank is charging us, how much what conversations they're having with Ministry of Finance on the drawdowns, the transaction cost around all those things. And those are all costs that government will pick up at some point. Now we owing over $400 million to Standard Chartered Bank because of fuel supply, that ECG is not paying for. So they draw down all the time when ECG is not able to pay, and government have to find money to go and replenish that. So these are all challenges that once power has been generated and the gas price or liquid fuel price has been accounted for in the tariff, we expect that the utility company will be able to raise that money and be able to pay the value chain rather than Ministry of Finance picking that bill.
Now, the data you provided, shows two clear things. That one, the ECG net losses at 2017, they made a loss of 294.9 million cedis. As at 2022, this has risen from 294, and please give me the table on the tables on page 2. Now, it's risen from 294.2 million to 9.72 billion as at 2022. So we're here to account for 2023 and of course 2024. We're in September. Then you also looked at the revenue collection rate, and we're doing an average of 43%. And you link this also to the whole HTEL digitalization thing, which was supposed to increase the revenue performance of the company, but the data suggests that that isn't the case. It appears that we're worse off.
Absolutely. ECG had a system that was working, which was also a digital system. People could buy power using their app. Of course, it needed some improvement, which is easy to do. Plugging in whatever payment systems you wanted into the new app, transforming it to whatever features you actually wanted. They had internal engineers that could actually do that. Developing app and building the back-end infrastructure. It's not something superficial that we will be justified, if you like, to believe that somebody else could do it better than the internal engineers, and also just plugging into existing APIs to be able to let that software deliver value. So they opted for that free service, if you like, because they already recruited internal engineers to be working on the software, and ECG was not paying anybody. Nobody was getting money for the implementation of the internal application, which could have been improved upon. And then they went to outsource that service to HTEL. And not just outsourcing the development of the software, but HTEL was going to stay on to be the revenue collection agency of ECG. So it got us worried. Why would you do this? And what is the guarantee that that kind of switch will bring efficiency to the collection of revenue? Because one, if it's just an app you are going to manage, you're not the one going to go around to make sure that people are complying with some rules, such as stealing power. HTEL is not going to go around chasing people who are stealing power. It's ECG that's going to do it. So you need that system to work together with the foot that will be on the ground to actually track those who are stealing power, which contributes significantly to commercial losses, to be able to achieve that. But they were just going to manage an app and be taking fees, which didn't exist, before they actually intervened. So now, after several back and forth, we got a contract from ECG itself, which actually shows that HTEL is taking about 0.95% of total revenue that is collected after we have paid the full cost of the development of the app. And you ask yourself, what service are they providing? It's an app. I go and buy power, or I put money in a bank, and HTEL reconciles and manages the app, and they take 0.95% of the revenue. And then we pay 1% for the telcos and the payment services that are integrated into the app. And then on top of that, we are paying about 0.85% for transaction fees, bank charges. Which bank will charge 0.85% on total revenue, if you're collecting a billion cedis, transaction fees will be about 8.5% for that kind of cash flow. So it actually shows that it's a scheme that has been packaged to actually take more revenue when we actually need more revenue. And the data actually speaks to it, that since that transaction actually kicked in, the revenue performance hasn't improved. And what they've been doing is to actually communicate nominal numbers to say, for example, that at one point, ECG's revenue was about 400 to 500 million, and now it's about 800 to 1 billion. And they don't account for the tariff adjustment, which in itself at one point was even over 100%. And then it came down to an average of about 78 or so percent. If revenue have shot up that much, at business as usual, you should be able to account for that jump in percentage terms on revenue collection. Beyond that also, consumption has gone up. So 2-3 years down the lane, power consumption has increased over 10%. So you have to also account for the power consumption increase, because you are selling more power and it should bring more revenue. But they never account for all of those things. All they simply do is to tell you that nominal numbers have gone up, and that could be attributable to the app that has been introduced. And that is simply false. And that's why when we trace the percentage of revenues that are actually collected, you see it declining, because what we've been told as an improvement is actually not an improvement on the old system.
All right. Okay. You also speak about exchange rate manipulations. What exactly do you mean by this?
Yeah, ECG has to buy a lot of dollars because of the IPPs, and how much they pay for the dollar. And I'm even surprised that the Bank of Ghana has not intervened over this period, because if you have ECG buying sometimes $43 million in a month, and the exchange rate that they are trading with is not visible enough, then they become part of the speculation that actually driving down the city, the value of the city. And at one point we saw that the rates that they were using to account to the price waterfall mechanism committee was way higher than what the market was quoting. Around December, for example, when they were quoting about 13.9, the exchange rate on the market was about $11 plus. So that gap alone translated to over 80 million Ghana cedis in exchange manipulation, right? And we were alarmed that the PRC didn't pick it up. And even at meetings, we were told that anytime they criticize their exchange rates, they simply will say that that's how much they buy the dollar on the market. When we put out that statement, ECG came out to say that what we saw in the data that they presented to the cash waterfall was projection. And we said, how can projection be given 3 months after the fact? Because you are reporting to the committee in December for September expenditure, and you give an exchange rate that is way off the prevailing rate, and you are saying it's projection. It didn't add up, but nobody has actually called them to account for that exchange rate manipulation. And we track it. Exchange rate alone now is causing over 7 billion in losses. And that is intriguing, because with the recent system that PRC has put in place, they account for the exchange rate losses in the automatic adjustment formula. And that is one major element of the frequent adjustments that we are seeing in the power sector. So when there are exchange losses, every 3 months they account for it and pay you back for the losses. So why is ECG still making so much losses on the exchange rate? It's because they can quote the exchange rate and nobody questions them on that exchange rate, and they're creaming off those exchange rates, which really requires a deep investigation to know how those exchange losses are actually occurring, particularly in recent times where the exchange losses are accounted for in the tariff adjustment.
Now, Ben, somebody watching at home will say that if they are raising the exchange rate and creaming off money, it should reflect in the profitability of ECG.
That is because it may not be seen in ECG's revenue, because ECG has cedis. So if ECG says instead of buying exchange dollars at 11.9 or so, they are buying at 13.9. What it means is that they are spending more of their cedis available to buy the dollar, which is rather worse for the business. So that is really a problem. And wherever that gap goes to, whether they actually buy the dollar at that extra rate, we're not sure. Who is involved? What are the banks involved in that transaction? We need to know. We need to see visibility on how those purchases have happened over time. And the Bank of Ghana should show interest, really, in how some of those dollars are procured and how that fits into the speculative environment around the currency.
But Ben, the Bank of Ghana is interested in how you and I spend a few dollars in our accounts. They are very stringent about how we can even utilize our own money that we put in our accounts to the extent that they are Forex. They have all manner of regulations on this. How come that of an entity that in some cases can go on the market to buy as much as $43 million on a monthly basis will be of no interest to the central bank?
That in itself is really interesting. I mean, the central bank itself should show interest in some of these entities that are actually buying significant amounts of dollars to be able to pay their suppliers. And it surprises me that they are also not showing that much interest in how ECG buys dollars. Because, you know, at the Cash Waterfall Committee, they will always reference World Bank, Bank of Ghana rates and insist that, ECG works with the Bank of Ghana to make dollar available to their suppliers. But they still prefer to buy from commercial bank. And whatever that interest is, only ECG people can explain how that happens.
Well, maybe we probably will have a goal for ECG policy pretty soon to deal with this as well. But you end up by, before your recommendations, you speak about the implications of ECG's poor performance on Ghana's economy. Can you summarize that for us? In all of this, how really does that affect Ghana's economy? Some people might say, isn't it just some company somewhere which is being run down just like any other state company? How does that impact on the Ghanaian economy? And why should it be a worry for anybody from the president to the last man? Why must the problems of ECG be a worry?
Yeah, I think it's peculiar because you cannot wait for ECG to go bankrupt. And that has been the reason why continuously government has to raise money to be able to pay for the indebtedness of ECG. So what that means is that if we have to go construct a road, politically government wouldn't want the power sector to go down or power to go off because of the pressure that will go from come from citizens. So they're always paying money to keep the light on instead of addressing the problems. And also the liability sits with government because government has actually guaranteed a lot of the payments. We are essentially, the budget is essentially paying for gas consumption when the gas has been utilized to pay for, to utilize to generate power, and it has to come through the revenues from the power sector. And government is paying for it. As we speak, we owe in excess of $400 million, as I indicated, to the Standard Chartered Bank, which actually should trigger the World Bank guarantee at this point. So some tough negotiation must be going on in the back end with Standard Chartered to avoid, World Bank guarantee being called on, because that would have serious implication for the IMF program, for all other, debt sustainability, projections for the country. So if ECG continues the way it's been behaving and government continue to shoulder the bills, we wouldn't have money to do any development. We'll keep borrowing at a higher rate to be able to build roads, and our revenues will be siphoned through the power sector. And it's worsening over time. And that's why we indicate that if we don't hold it here and try to improve the situation, we'll get to that point where the entire bill may even be picked up by the state.
Right. So Ben, the ECG works in a regulated environment, and the regulator is PURC. And in your conclusions and recommendations, you highlight the need for the PRC to do quite a lot. But the PRC itself, in just a week, is opened the book of lamentations.
That is the sad part, and also the reality that even when they sanction, they cannot follow through those sanctions. And it tells you how that institution has been weakened, over time, where they can't bite, they can't issue a simple directive for ECG to comply, and nobody knows where the power was coming from. I'm sure over the past 1 year, all of us have followed how continuously PRC has been highlighting problems with ECG. At one point, they wanted to audit, the Ministry of Energy and PRC, got PwC to audit the cash flows of ECG. They were not forthcoming with their bank accounts for proper visibility over the revenues that they are actually getting, and yet they couldn't sanction them. So the regulator actually has been weakened, but they have to do their job and put out information, let people see what they are doing relative to the utilities, so that together we can fix that problem. And also politicians should just allow the regulator to work and sanction individuals who are supposed to be sanctioned for non-performance in that space. And that is a call that we'll continue to make, even though they have challenges, to help that institution to become truly independent, to be able to regulate the space and improve efficiency of the sector.
Okay. Now, you seem to be really convinced that there ought to be an audit of the HTEL contract. And you seem to suggest in your post that you think that is just a procurement gig and nothing more.
The data actually shows that it's not generating any value for ECG and for the consumer and for the budget, at large. And I even struggle to find, this is a contract, a service delivery contract. We have paid in full for the procurement of the app or the development of the app and all the intellectual property behind it. How then do they even still get a service contract, of over 30 years, right? And to be paid that much money for managing.
Are you saying the contract is for 30 years?
Yes, certainly they put in a 30-year clause. And what is even intriguing is that they have created a fund. Because of the cash waterfall mechanism, we are supposed to see how much money ECG collects so that transparently we can allocate the revenues to the value chain. In the arrangement between HTEL and ECG, they have created a fund outside the visibility of the cash waterfall mechanism, so that HTEL and ECG would agree to put money into that fund, through which HTEL will be paid in any other innovation that ECG wants to be done, will be paid from that account before the balance is transmitted into the main ECG account. So on a daily basis, you and I don't know how much they are allocating to that fund that has been created. And that fund will be co-managed by ECG and HTEL for 30 years.
30 years?
Yes. So what that means is that ECG and HTEL can decide that for innovation, we are putting 10% of all the revenue aside every month. And that money will go there because there's no regulation on how much actually goes into that account. So we'll be expecting visibility on how much revenue is actually collected. But in the back end, there's an agreement between ECG and HTEL to keep a portion of the revenue unstated in the agreement, for their own control and management before the rest come into ECG's account. And that for me is extremely bizarre, for such an arrangement to be made on the blind side of the regulator, because PRC is not visible in that space. They don't even know that that contract existed. Even from their last statement, they were now requesting for the contract to be able to know what has happened. But ECG has actually gone into a contract, in spite of the mechanism that exists for revenue collection to be visible to everybody. They've gone into a contract to put money aside before what they account to the cash waterfall. Also today, it's even possible that ECG is collecting way more than they are reporting but we don't know the actual amount that HTEL has been collecting over the period because of the contract and the arrangement that they have with them. And we need to know how much, HTEL has been collecting over the period, how much has been paid into the fund, the innovation fund or whatever they call it, over time, for us to know whether there was performance that we didn't actually see over the period.
All right, Ben, let me thank you for your time this morning. Thanks. Always enlightening speaking with you. We're grateful for your time this morning.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. We're back shortly.
Do you know someone who's making a difference in your community? Someone whose selfless actions and dedication to helping others deserves recognition? Then it's time to celebrate these incredible individuals on MTN Heroes of Change.
It's time to nominate those selfless individuals to win 100,000 Ghana cedis and other cash prizes and be crowned MTN Hero of Change. You can also nominate a blogger or someone in the digital space and any of the media houses to win our new category of Digital Hero and Media Hero of Change. Just fill an online nomination form at mtn.com.gh or send a WhatsApp with a 1-minute video of your nominee's project on 055-141-1122. Deadline for nominations is 18th October 2024, so don't waste time. Nominate your hero now.
MTN Heroes of Change. Be the change you wish to see.
Experience the enhanced protection of Star Motor Third Party Extra from Star Assurance, an enhanced motor third party insurance policy that provides cover for loss or damage to your vehicle's windscreens, side mirrors, back glass, and other glass components. Whether it's a crack or major damage, you can drive with the assurance that your vehicle is well protected. Our commitment to you includes affordable coverage options and a claims process that is both fast and straightforward, so you spend less time dealing with paperwork and more time on the road. Also, we have proudly partnered with Hope for Little Lives, an organization dedicated to supporting children in need. By choosing Star Motor Third Party Extra, you're protecting your vehicle and making a positive impact. Every policy you buy helps bring joy and support to children in underserved communities. Reach out to us now on our toll-free numbers 0800-177-177 or 0302-245-906 to sign up. Let us help you drive with peace of mind and purpose. Star Motor Third Party Extra. Drive with confidence, give back with heart.
Star Assurance, your solid partner.
Choose the perfect prize for you every week and stand to win your choice of exciting prizes, all to get more of what matters to you. Exclusive to Betway. Betway, get way more. Terms and conditions apply. Regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. No under 18.
In today's modern world, stairs are a challenge, especially for our elderly and those with health concerns. Navigating them can be difficult and even dangerous, but there's a safer way to move vertically. Lifts and Elevators Limited Company, your answer to a more accessible and secure vertical transportation. Our elevators and escalators, including top-of-the-line pneumatic vacuum elevators, Fuji elevators and escalators, offer a safer and more convenient alternative, eliminating the risks of stairs and enhancing accessibility for homes, businesses, and hospitals. Choose safety and convenience with Lifts and Elevators Limited Company. Elevate your spaces today. For more information, visit our website at www.elevatorsgh.org or call now on 0200-535-515. Lifts and Elevators Limited Company, the elevator people.
Using Coa Mixture, Coa Plus Mixture, and Coa MT Mixture, brought to you by Coa Research and Manufacturing Limited Company, proudly made in Ghana. Formulated to support your general well-being. For those seeking immune system support, there is Coa Plus Mixture, Support your body's defenses and stay strong. When it comes to combating malaria, Coa MT mixture will aid your treatments. For effective relief from malaria symptoms, try Coa MT mixture. Coa mixture, Coa plus mixture, and Coa MT mixture are not recommended for pregnant women, lactating mothers, and children under 12 years. Always take a malaria test before using Coa MT mixture. Choose Coa mixture, Coa plus mixture, and Coa MT mixture for your health needs. Available now at pharmacies nationwide. For bulk purchases, contact 0244 726611 or 0591 565 778. This advert is
Anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh breath.
I'm a fair missy way.
The patch of Bantama.
Matias. It's her smile.
The fresh breath.
Me, Judy said we used to Cal 360 toothpaste. Send me kind. Cal 360 toothpaste.
That's here. Cal 360 toothpaste. It's a gum protector. Onim jom kasan.
Ile hosen. Cal 360 did the way. It's cool mint. Gives me fresh breath and your confidence booster.
You will see so feeling kika when you know Cal 360 toothpaste.
Happy smile.
Cal 360 toothpaste, anti-cavity, gum protection, brighter teeth, and fresh breath. Cal, happy smile. This advert is FDA approved.
Now let me tell you why you should choose Safari Valley as your conference destination.
The new conference building combines modern amenities with the tranquility of nature, providing the perfect backdrop for your next seminar and corporate retreat.
The only conference destination with so many activities, you don't have to travel to visit your tennis club, the gym, or the stables. They have it all.
Enjoy this rooftop viewing deck, basking in the sunlight with the sight of wild animals roaming freely in their natural habitat.
At my break, I'm able to practice my putting.
It's a unique experience that sparks creativity and rejuvenates the mind.
Visit Safari Valley Eco Resort in Ghana, bringing you closer to nature.
The luckiest.
Star 712 hash.
Luck is everywhere.
8K. Hey, you get an 8K. Get back packing from your book, man. One line. Hey, wait.
You can put it on his tab. This is my man. Good luck.
Hey, go bill radio. We are star 712. It's what you phone. I'm on dialing the magic numbers. Star 712. Now welcome to the luckiest. And I'm with me at home ticket. You can buy for yourself or your loved one.
Mommy, tell mommy who's here.
You're buying for me, right?
Or who else?
Oh.
Let's choose buy tickets for others.
Love you, boo boo.
Maybe straight to option 4. Now, you need to buy tickets worth 50 Ghana to qualify. Yes, you can buy random or preferred tickets. I'm choosing random ticket. That's it. Listen, if you buy the random ticket, the system chooses a random number for you. But if you buy the preferred, you get to input your own preferred 5 digits. 5.
Baby, give me your 5 numbers.
And how much are we buying?
Babe, look at the body and buy you.
With your body,
Hey,
there, tread cautiously. Now follow the prompts and confirm. Now the luckiest.
The luckiest is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform, not for persons below 18 years. TNCs apply.
Hello, my name is Roland Walker. I'm here at Coastal Park. It's one of the many courts belonging to estate masters, and they are into service plots, property management, and luxury homes. And just in case you want to make that decision to invest into a landed property, estate masters is the right choice to make. If it is from an indenture, a site plan, you want it also barcoded, all is available. You might have heard about Chopoli. It's where we have the next cottage of estate masters. It is not only one of the thriving, but the most inviting landed property sites for you also to invest in. We encourage you, do invest in the next cottage at Chopoli. It is just close to the yet to be demarcated airport. That also will be a valuable property for you to invest in.
Right, welcome back to the show. If you just joined us, this is Good Morning Ghana Live on Metro TV. Still with me on the show, I have Dr. Clement Apak and Ishaq Ibrahim, the legal practitioner. Now, with Betway, you're guaranteed to get more chances to play. Betway's Pick Your Prize lets you choose your preferred promotion to make the perfect sports bet every week, from payout boost to cashback. Plus, you will also stand a chance to choose your own prize, from vouchers to electronics and a grand prize of airline ticket. Visit betway.com.gh to find out more. Terms and conditions apply. This is regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Bet the responsible way. Betway, get way more. And enjoying the fruits of your labor is as important as enjoying the mansions of your labor. The pains of climbing the stairs when not exercising could be challenging, irrespective of your age, but worry no more. Lift and elevators have got you covered with the best portable American pneumatic vacuum elevators on the market today. It's a simple, self-supported elevator for both homes and offices, and guess what? It can lift your goods too. Wheelchairs can fit in, and they come in 3 custom-made models. It's affordable and can be installed within 3 days. Visit Lift and Elevators at Sakumono, or just call them on 0200535515 or send a mail to elevatorsgh@gmail.com for consultations and the best solutions in easy vertical movement. Doc.
Dr. Abi.
You've heard our energy sector.
I'm in a state of shock.
Oh, how?
In fact, when you think the situation cannot be any worse than it is, with reference to the affairs of the Republic of Ghana, then you wake up to something of this magnitude. How is this possible? How can this be happening in a country that has a government, that has institutions? Now, from the narrations given by the Honorable Member for Yape Kusogo, John Jinopo, and Ben, it is clear that there is a cabal that is profiting at the expense of Ghanaians. I mean, ECG. We all remember the fiasco to do with PDS, which cost us $190 million. And to think that after that debacle, where a condition precedent was changed to a condition subsequent, a bank guarantee was changed to an insurance guarantee under the auspices of the office of the Vice President. We are today confronted with such stark evidence about what, for all intents and purposes, can be described as high-level corruption, where the people of this country are being duped by people who have a mandate not only to protect us and to enhance our conditions of living. I mean, what else cannot happen? Indeed, when they say it is possible, it is indeed possible. Who would have thought that this could be happening? Look at the indebtedness of the ECG to the IPPs alone. It's about $2 billion. Look, not cedis. And then monthly revenue shortfalls, instead of ECG bringing in about 2 billion Ghana cedis, only a paltry 800 million Ghana cedis. And look at the questionable decisions. We are spending $40 million a month, as indicated by the 2 gentlemen who spoke, procuring light crude oil through companies which clearly are crony companies. We prefer to be supplied with this light crude oil over the use of cheaper natural gas And then we give up on a tested, reliable ECG developed app for an app that is untested, and it is ostensibly to improve revenue mobilization, and it turns out that ECG is actually losing revenue. And we are now being told that the contract is a contract for 30 years. Dog, I mean, I just don't know what to say. Look, the only solution, as John Jinako has said, is for this government to be given the red card. Because you can't tell me that all this that has happened would have happened without official complicity at the highest levels of decision making. I mean, just look at the issues of conflict of interest, potential corruption, it is obvious, inefficient resource allocation and wastage, lack of transparency and accountability. How can we expect ECG to even break even and to make profit? And ECG, before the NPP took over the reins of governance of this country, was making a profit. What was it that was being done which was right? And why can't that be done? The answer is simple. Those in charge of the affairs of state today are there to loot public resources for their own private and personal gain. Indeed, look, there has to be a thorough audit and investigation. ECG must be audited. There ought to be an investigation. We need to implement a transparent procurement process with regards to this new app that we are talking about. I am sure it was sole sourced.
Yes, it was.
And this is a government that hoodwinked Ghanaians when it was in opposition, that sole sourcing was going to be a thing of the past. Randy, go and check the records. In the history of Kwame Nkrumah's Ghana, the NPP government under Akufo-Addo and Bawumia has awarded the most sole source contracts ever. And we all know how sole source contracts, per the Auditor General's reports, as you indicated earlier, I am a member of the Public Accounts Committee, have always been mostly conduits for siphoning public resources into private pockets. So, as the NDC and John Mahama have indicated, and I was happy that John Jinako reiterated, if we are given the mandate to govern this country, which we believe we will conduct an audit, we would investigate, we would ensure transparency in procurement processes, we will put in place measures to optimize energy sourcing and pricing strategies. And of course, we must promote good governance and accountability. As we sit, none of this can happen under this current dispensation because they are in on it. These are not matters that can be orchestrated by some small fishes. The head honchos, those manning the affairs of this republic, must be held responsible for the fleecing of our collective resources into private pockets. Which are the companies? Which company is supplying this $40 million a month crude? How was that company selected? Who are the beneficiary owners of that company? Who are those behind this app? How was the company selected? Who are the beneficiary owners of those companies? These are the questions that Ghanaians must be asking. Well, it is only about 80 or so days to an election when Ghanaians have a choice to continue with this large-scale, broad daylight thievery of our collective resources by a few greedy and selfish individuals, or to cause the change so that we can hold them accountable. There must be accountability. This cannot pass just like that. I am so frustrated, but I feel powerless. The day of reckoning is surely going to come. This is terrible. It's terrible. There is no other way to put it.
Council, let me take your perspective on that.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, I think the first thing we need to look at is the resignation letter by Dubik. He has cited personal reasons.
Yes.
I know Dubik quite well. He's from my part of the country. I think he's a gentleman of integrity. If there was something really worrying him, that's why he resigned. He would have probably stated publicly, because I know him to be a very strong guy. So we've also listened to Abu Jinapo, who tried to explain some of the reasons why he has resigned. He mentioned that there were some ethical issues that he was asked to breach his own ethics, of which he thinks he will resign. I think he also insinuated that possibly a future NDC government would have probably prosecute him for whatever he was asked to do. So I think Dubik is capable of speaking for himself, and I think opposition would say that, wouldn't they? Because they have every reason to insinuate there was some wrongdoing. Because as my colleague here have made it clear, the main reason is that they want to win power.
The facts are so stuck.
Okay.
They are stuck.
Okay.
Don't take it from me. Don't take it from
Doc, let's hear him.
Yes. The main reason that he tried to insinuate, as my colleague here said, they need power. And therefore, everything coming out from ECG, probably they will make a huge news about it. Having said that, yes, even Abu recognizes that in the NDC time, pre-2017, John Janapo, yes. What name did I mention?
You said Abu.
Okay, John, yes. So John also accepted that they recorded 22% losses during their time. That tells me there was something wrong. A government taking over will probably try to look at this side to see how we can reduce these 22% losses. Because I think 22% losses is still unacceptable. So having taken over, he said that the government currently is actually recording 32% losses. I accepted the 22% losses because he stated it. But I don't really know whether we actually recorded 32 losses.
It's in the financials of ECG.
Yes. So, and we know revenue collection is really a problem. I mean, I have spoken, I'm not an official, I've spoken to people on personal levels, especially people on prepaid meters, who said sometimes the ECG workers make deals with some people that if you own up to 10,000, 15,000, you make deals with some of these workers, and all that they need to do is change the meter for you, and the old debt will be wiped off. I mean, look at even the culture of the workforce. And yet, when the government made an attempt to outsource this particular meter system, the other gentleman is saying that, no, trust the same ECG workers, and let's continue with their meter. You remember,
but that's very unfair. That's very unfair to the ECG staff.
Okay.
Because you see, I'm sure that if I were to cite 2 or 3 examples of corruption in this government, and to tell you that there's a reason why the government is not fit for purpose and must be booted out, you would disagree with me.
Surely. Let me explain. I am not saying that alone is a basis. The idea that they are not even able to collect revenue to the accepted level tell us there's some inefficiency within the workforce. The idea that even they themselves admitted they have problem in revenue collection. That was why they are changing these particular meters. These new meters, they believe that are capable of helping them.
Chief, you're aware that the workers at ECG,
they
do not determine who should bring meters and which meters people should bring. Those are decisions that are taken by those at the top.
At the top, yes.
Including political elements. So but when they bring in those substandard meters and those bad meters and all that, why then do we go and blame the poor ECG workers? I'm not saying that we don't have problems with ECG workers. I'm not saying that people don't do deals at ECG.
Deals at ECG.
But for example, going outside the cash waterfall to do these 40 million deals and all those things, signing those contracts and others. What has that got to do with ECG workers?
I don't know what informed the signing of those contracts, but the point I am just trying to make is that if an opposition party is admitting that when they were in power, they were incurring losses of up to 22%, a new government should surely do something about it. As with the appropriateness was what they have done, the government side have not actually stated their case. I mean, those particular, handling those particular area, we probably need to hear from them before we make informed judgment.
Have you seen the PURC letter to the president and the minister?
The one you just gave me, or which one?
PURC.
No, I haven't seen it.
Okay, maybe you should take a read of that.
Okay.
That's the regulator.
Okay.
A number of online.
That's the regulator telling us.
Okay.
Yes. The regulator telling us the issue.
Yes.
That is not sustainable.
But nevertheless, we have also seen this particular release, and I think one of the guys have spoken to you.
Yes.
They have stated the reason why we're having power problems. That their inability for them to get enough gas supply, that accounts for it. For me, such letters also need to be welcome. At least they are showing some transparency, telling us that we expect some outages, and this is the main reason, and they are working towards it. And I think that kind of transparency, I really appreciate it. But nevertheless, if you actually take the performance of the current government in the energy sector, compare it to the NDCs, as he's saying, your time at least, they were not even able to keep the lights on. So I think the government is still doing well. At least that's why all these problems are reported. We are still able to keep the lights on. So
at what cost?
Well, the energy sector is the energy for growth. If we don't take the necessary measure to keep the lights on, as they were unable to keep the lights on, and that is probably the genesis of some of these problems. So I think Dubik recognizing he has personal issues and resigning, a new management, I think, will probably breathe some fresh air into the energy sector, especially.
So an entity makes a loss of 270 million in 2017.
Yes.
By 2022,
yes,
it's making a loss of almost 10 billion cedis a year.
A year, yeah.
I mean, so when I ask about this thing of keeping the lights on, at what cost? This is what I'm talking about. And you know why I always raise this issue?
Okay.
When the issue of Ghana's debt, people kept pointing fingers. Look, our debt is unsustainable. The way we are piling the debt, we're going to get into trouble. We're going to get into trouble. People said, oh, what is the thing? We are doing free SHS, nursing and training allowance, this, that. Until one day, we were told that we're going to the IMF.
Yes.
And beyond that,
yes,
irrespective of the fact that the president addressed the nation and said that we shouldn't listen to anybody, there will be no haircuts. We are still reeling from the haircuts. So I'm saying that sometimes when I hear people say, but the lights are on at what cost? We've heard both the Honorable Jinapo and the ASEP Executive Director, Ben Boachi, inform us that these entities are drawing down on the guarantee to the extent that they've drawn down about 400 of the 500 million guarantee.
Yes.
To the extent that if they continue to draw down, the World Bank guarantee will then be called in, and that jeopardizes the entire IMF program.
But Randy, nevertheless, what we heard strongly from was an opposition MP who has an
I'm talking about Ben Boachi.
Okay.
ASEP, I'm referring to ASEP.
I will come to the gentleman.
Yes.
Okay. Nobody, I think the government accepts there is a problem in that area. Just as John accepted there was a problem of revenue shortage in that area, collections. Now, as you said, the way forward, I mean, if you look at the MPP manifesto, for example, we have tried to address it. We realize that...
you are in power.
Yes, I understand that.
You're in power. You're referring us to a manifesto.
They were in power. They had problems. No. This particular, 22% tells you that we have inherited some problems. If you say last time there are 22% problems, now it's 32. It means there was a problem.
So you exacerbated
Let me develop my point first.
You were supposed to.
You had your chance to talk. Let me develop my point first. But at least accept that we have inherited some of the problems from you. Do you understand that? Government have tried to resolve it. And from what John is explaining, what the government have done is not enough. Nevertheless, only a mad person repeatedly do the same thing and expect different results. And this is why I'm trying to explain to you what a future MPP government would do. A future Bawumia government have insisted that our current energy mix is not the best way forward. We promise that when we come to power after December election.
But are you not in power?
No, what I'm trying... I've already explained to you the way forward. I'm just trying to explain to you some of the way forward.
What
we recognize
now.
We are doing now
what
I have just explained to you. You have explained the problem. What we have done is that we've inherited a problem from you. We are trying to resolve it. Nevertheless, we have future plans. Our future plans is to diversify the energy mix by providing 2,000 megawatts of solar energy. And I welcome this particular thing as a very important thing. Just if you go to our neighboring countries such as Burkina Faso, see the amount of solar energy, solar farms that is widespread. So I think in trying to resolve this our current problem, especially the foreign exchange currency problem that they have spoken about, moving to solar energy would be a very important way forward. And I think it will be able to address some of these problems we're talking about. And the manifesto also spoke about nuclear power. Most advanced countries, it is a nuclear power that has helped them able to supply energy at affordable prices. And I think a future MPP government again would move toward this particular area to be able to reduce some of these problems that we are talking about. Nevertheless, revenue collection, I don't know why we try to put the blame squarely on government alone, when in fact the very people who are even meant to collect the revenue are not really doing their best. What about the responsibility for citizens? At least a citizen consuming something should be willing to pay for it. Do we not apportion some of the blames to citizens themselves who are actually failing to pay their bills? So I think let's give faith with the government, especially the new, what they call it, the new meter system. There's every reason why some people might not want it to work, because some people were probably profited from the old system. And when you are bringing a new system that is meant to reduce problem, it's natural some people doesn't like certain change to resist.
You don't know Ben Washington.
Well, I mean, the way he spoke in total, at least somebody who is very
Are you happy?
Yes.
That PURC, which is the regulator, writes a letter and informs you that it has not even cited the HTEL contract and is even asking for a copy. Are you excited that there are portions of a contract? There are portions of a contract that speaks about putting aside some money, and this is outside the cash waterfall mechanism and all that.
Yeah.
Are you excited about this level of opacity?
I'm not privy to that information that you have just said, so I'm not able to say whether I'm excited or not excited. At least if I have a...
No, I'm telling you what the PURC says.
Yes. As I said,
unless you don't believe your regulator.
As I said, I have not read it, so I'm not able to say whether I'm excited or not excited.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. I guess we'll need to leave it here.
Okay.
We need to leave it here. Thanks, gentlemen, for joining me.
The depression.
When is my honey coming?
Well, I will be going to the constituency over the weekend.
You know, they do like the best honey in his constituency.
I know, for me, the environment suggests...
from Doninga.
Okay.
Yes,
the environment suggests they will have a lot of honey there.
That is it.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it's quite tropical, and the way the trees, especially the Shana trees,
the which trees?
Shana trees.
You
know, they produce the nectar.
Yeah.
So they are able to collect. Wherever you see a lot of Shana tree, there's likely to be good honey there.
Okay.
Yes.
So why the chestnut trees attract bees?
Yes. Yeah, because of the flowering.
So they attract bees.
They get the nectar from some of these flowers.
Okay.
I'm from. I mean,
I'm
very close.
You're from
I'm
Wale?
from the East region.
You're from Wale?
Yes, I'm from Wale.
The same type of environment.
So
were you supporting Hajia or Kabiru?
I'm a stakeholder in Wale. I don't want to comment about Wale matter. Change. I myself contested the Wale.
Oh, really?
Yes, change. I contested the
Wale. But this time you didn't?
No, I didn't contest.
Okay.
No.
Why?
I don't think it was the wise thing to do, so I didn't contest. But I think at the end of the day, Wale will be fine.
But the next you will contest.
I don't know what the future holds. But what I know currently is that
NPP
shall surely prevail
when a politician tells you, gives you this kind of answer, it means that you go.
Well, I'm a citizen, and then I say if I'm going to be an active citizen, yes, you can close any door.
A quick one. You know, we have the inauguration of the Bursa Muslim Association.
Oh, nice.
Which is going to take place in Kaokudi on the 29th.
Kaokudi here?
Yes.
Nima?
Yes, my senior brother.
Is it the park, the Kaokudi park?
Yes, okay. Alaji Bursa.
Okay.
You know, he's one of those leading the effort. And my mother, Hajia Rukaya. But unfortunately, I would be in Bursa because Saturday is also the burial mass of the mother of one of the great sons of Bulsa, Bishop Agenta.
Okay.
So
I hope you are not affected by the mortuary men's strike.
Well,
mortuary workers.
I hope not.
Okay.
I really pray it doesn't affect the burial of our mother.
Okay.
So although I will not be there for the inauguration in person, I will send a representative.
Okay.
It is very exciting, you know.
Do you have a large Muslim population?
The Bursa Muslims are coming together.
Do you have a large Muslim population?
Yeah, we do.
I've always thought you are predominantly Catholics.
No, not really. It's
not
mixed,
really.
Just like any part of Ghana. But at the core, you know, every Bursa house so has the traditional religion at the core. But individuals can choose.
Which one is the traditional religion?
Where we worship God through our ancestors.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So if you come to my family house in Doninga, for example, before you enter the compound, you have the platform with representations of the different ancestors. So we perform rituals. Sometimes we pour libation. Other times we give them zonium. And other
Which
times,
one is that?
Which is, you know, what we call zone. It's usually
corn flour,
ground millet, either fried or raw. So you mix it with water.
That's what you give to your gods.
Yes, that is some of what. It depends on what the occasion is, and why you are performing the sacrifice. Sometimes it may be a goat, a sheep, cow. Could even be a dog.
So may I ask a question?
Yes.
The goats and cows, when they are slaughtered and you say you've given them a sacrifice, what happens to the
carcass?
The meat?
Well, you see, it depends on why.
Or the
meat. The remaining.
Yes, what happens?
It depends on
the priest.
No. It is at the clan level. There's always one member of the clan who is responsible for that.
Responsible for eating it?
No, for performing.
Now, what I want to know is that after doing the blood and all this,
depending
what
on
happens to the carcass?
purpose for which the sacrifice is performed, certain parts of the meat would be offered either in the raw state or cooked. The rest of it is then prepared and consumed communally. So it depends on the sacrifice and the nature of it. You know, as an anthropologist, I've taken interest, and I think my own background as a Bursa has enhanced my study.
What's the name of that base? The base in your area where they sell the dog meat?
That is the headquarters.
What's the name?
Weaga. Yes, but that is actually in Bursa North. But in Buluk, it is recognized as the headquarters. And I always make a pit stop.
The headquarters of dog meat?
When I'm going and coming. The special delicacy.
So you bring some to Accra?
Sometimes, yes.
To your family?
No, well,
you are the only
kids,
consumer.
I'm not too used to it, although I'm trying to groom my two sons.
You are trying to groom them to enjoy it?
Of course, it is part of their legacy. It's part of their tradition.
That's
you
great.
You cannot be a proud Bursa man
without consuming it.
Certainly not.
But they are not usually But they are not usually those you keep as pets.
No, we don't. Those are not what we keep as pets.
Okay.
But Anthony Cabo once announced that as part of the One District One factory,
dog meat factory,
there was going to be a dog meat factory.
Has it been done?
Well, it has not been done.
So you are looking forward to it?
Disappointedly. You know, his mother is a Bulsa, and his father is a Dagao. And on both sides,
the dog
it is
meat
considered
happens.
a special delicacy.
Oh,
so he's my nephew.
But you don't buy into the idea that, okay, if you don't keep it as a pet, then that's fine. But people who keep them as pets have thought that they have become our closest companion.
Well,
saying that it will be a betrayal to actually eat them. But if you don't keep it as pets,
cats are also close companions. And we consume them. It's about your culture and your tradition.
Yes.
One of those who eat vultures.
Yes.
And snakes.
Up next, Metro
No, but